Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War faction of the Sea of Sorrow. This faction is affiliated with Merlantis and allows it to reach 8 Kingdom Stars. It also ends up bringing in 4 new merfolk troops through the portal itself, and most noteworthy of all, it ends up bringing in a whole additional armor bonus with the additional faction renown that it ends up bringing in. So between the other 3 factions, it is now easily accessible to be able to get the +1 HP as well as the +1 armor. As far as the event itself, it is possible if you get all of them into full completions to do it with just 410 gems. And this is also noteworthy because it ends up giving a new weapon. This weapon is relatively bad, but for early game and possibly mid game, it is a okay skull spam option, as there isn't too many skull spam options around that level range. What makes it noteworthy is the fact that it creates skulls into a automatic entangle, so you're always going to have that first slot entangled, assuming you don't end up killing it with the skull damage that you end up doing with it. So let's just go over some teams, some for the faction as well as one just using that weapon. So if we just go over to PvP and I guess this middle one here, let's go into the 3 faction teams first. So the first one, and the main one that I'm actually using, as well as the cheapest one to possibly use, is a +2 brown, +1 blue, -1 purple Kraken banner, set with a Titan fully maxed. We're using the Dragon's Eye, followed by a Cactus, a Apothecary, and a Gargoyle. Basically, we get a Apothecary up as quickly as possible. This has Cleanse as well as a brown spam. This will then create brown for all 3 of our troops. With our heroes set to gaining barrier every single brown, as well as a brown storm, we'll be able to basically have infinite barriers to almost never take damage. We also end up getting some few explosions, and we have immune to stun so that we can never be unstunned, or we can never get our traits removed. So we'll always have that barrier spam constantly with all the browns. Not only do we have brown off the Apothecary, but we also have it off the Cockatrice. He ends up getting an Entangle and a Mana Drain, the Mana Drain being very useful to make sure that the big casts on the enemy team don't get off, and the Entangle to make sure that skulls do absolutely nothing. And on top of that, it creates browns, which give us even more barrier. And other than that, we basically just have a Gargoyle. You could replace this with several other things, but the 2 noteworthy things that this has is a 25% spell reduction. So some of the tier 4 rooms, there's quite a few of them in this faction that you'll end up seeing. There's one of them that ends up hitting the last slot a lot, and this will help you to make sure that your last slot ends up surviving due to the extra durability it has. The other thing that this does is it does a lot of splash damage that will be able to easily clean up all the baby dragons. So pretty much regardless of where they are, you'll be able to go and kill pretty much all of them at once, unless they are distributed in 2 slots away from each other, or 3 I should say, in which case you will not be able to reach, like if it was in 1st slot and 4th slot. But if it was in any other 2 locations, you would be able to wipe all 2 of them or all 3 of them based on where the baby dragons are. But still, really nice cleanup, ends up getting some mana accumulation afterwards, and overall, just really cheap. Cockatrice is rare, Apothecary is ultra rare, Gargoyle is an epic, but you get it pretty easily just by using shards on Hall of Guardians, and Dragon's Eye you get from 250 wins on the Dragon Guard hero class, which you get from Dragon's Claw. Anyways, basically high rarity version of the team. Still use the Gargoyle, followed by Dragon's Eye, just to make sure we still have that durability and ways to kill them out. And then Scorpius and Uriali. Uriali ends up poisoning all enemies off the final trait, and Scorpius can double kill. One nice thing that happened in version 4.0 is Scorpius's cooldown, in that he could only cast once the entire battle, has been removed, so you can double kill, or you can double cast him for a complete wipe. The only big downside to this, there is a lot of immune to poisons out there that you do have to worry about, so do be mindful of that if you do end up using that. Other than that, the pure faction team that you end up using is basically one of each, except you run double of the Deep King and exchange out the rare. The rare only does a single targeted true damage, so you don't really need it. As far as what this team actually does, it has a really decent frontline tank here that has 50% skull reduction. It also has immune to Entangle, which is pretty relevant because you're going to be needing him to do a lot of skull damage, as basically like 80%, 90% of this team's damage comes specifically from all of your skulls, and it can gain a little bit more of durability while also doing some mana accumulation. Sea Witch is the main one you would be spamming because it ends up creating a bunch of blue and brown, which you need for literally everything on your entire team. It will also give you an Enrage and a bunch of life. You would use this initially on your 1st slot, but also you can use it on other slots to make sure that they stay alive and don't die to true damage or some kind of other targetable damage. And other than that, the Deep King is mainly here to accumulate more attack. His ability, for the most part, you don't even really ever need to cast. Once you start getting to later delves, it's such a trivial amount of damage that you're better off just constantly doing skulls. But yeah, you want to get as many extra turns as possible. He does give all merfolk allies 3 attack every single time you gain an extra turn. So that's a total of 6 attacks since they do stack, so you'd have 2 of them. So yeah, the strategy works okay. And you end up getting 1.5 times multiplier off the enrage you give the first slot. And you basically just keep spamming this thing, hitting skulls here and there. And that is what Pure Faction is like. And let's just go use the new weapon real quick, and then we'll go into the delves themselves. So here's the new weapon. I made sure to go use all low rarity stuff, so anyone would be able to create this weapon. This weapon costs 410 gems. Cockatrice is a rare, Dark Maiden is a rare, and Skeleton is a common, so really accessible. And that's kind of nice, because generally skull spam teams are more of a mid to late game kind of thing, just because there are very, very few early game options. But this weapon will actually be decent for that. So right off the bat, we're just going to want to drain something that seems annoying. He actually has immune to mana drain, so I guess we'll go for that instead. We unfortunately missed that, which is going to hurt quite a bit. He gets Mountain Crusher. He's going to get a little bit of everything. He might actually kill us here. So we'll see. If we can get Cockatrice back up, we might be fine. So we'll go and take a brown over. We need to go get this on first slot at this point so he doesn't keep going so crazily. And let's see. He does have enrage and everything, so we're definitely going to have to do that. Hopefully don't miss this time. But luckily he doesn't miss. We'll go take that other brown so we can get that rolling and get it right into some skulls. Luckily it does have that scatter, so we will be able to go and get rid of any barriers. It kind of has a similar effect to that of Infernus and being able to remove those barriers. But so far, so bad right now. We'll go get that down. It is made mainly for early game, of course, though. Get that down. Get our skulls. Get that little bit of drain. Some skull damage in there, but it is just going to die out. We still have our Withering Touch, though, which we'll still be able to utilize. And we'll take our skull down, get our pokes. Doesn't help that a lot of his team is actually immune to mana drain right now, which is making it hard to actually target some of them specifically down. But he'll go hit us. Looks like we're almost going to go down, but should be fine. Grab herself a extra turn right there. Last little bit of our mana. Go and take our skull that we need. Obviously not the best of weapons, but it's a good alternative if you don't have other skull spam options available. So we'll be able to entangle him right here, and we're pretty much safe to go. He is going to get another summon. Nope, never mind. He isn't. We're just going to get all the skulls we need just to kill him out. And yeah, that's pretty much that. For early game, it should be enough concentrated damage that you just plow down everything, and it will be perfectly fine. But now the delves themselves, let's go over to the event. So, when fighting in these delves in the Sea of Sorrows, the general path that you want to do is first room, third room, or the tier 1 to tier 3. Basically, check this tier 5. If it is a 1.3 or higher, you go first room, second room, third room, fourth room, and then you take the 2 tier 4s, then you check both the tier 2s, and see which one is 1.2. And if neither of them are, you just do it in any order. Otherwise, do the 1.2s first, and then do the other one. But basically, the only rooms you really ever need to check is this tier 5 and these 2 tier 2s. And that's basically it. And as we see right there, that's a 1.3, so we know now to go and head over to the right. So let's, for the rest of this, just go and use this team for the rest of the rooms that are available here. So right off the bat, with this team, we're generally going to want to go into either Apothecary or Eye. It doesn't normally matter which one you go for, so whichever mana is available is what you take. The only time you would ever really go for one over the other is if you just really need that brown because they're about to pressure you with skulls. But more often than not, you can pretty much start with either one. But we'll go with skull for now. Well, actually, I didn't even need that skull. We'll go for an Eye. That will get one of the first disables down. We'll go for another Eye since we just have it laying there already, ready to go. Hopefully it'll hit something different. It can hit the exact same thing, unfortunately. You can preemptively kill it if you want, though normally it's not that worth doing. Apothecary, you can hit on literally anything. There isn't really too much of a restriction with this particular team on what you actually hit. As long as there's a lot of browns on the board, that's the only thing this team cares about. So right here, now that there's only a 50% chance we'll actually hit with Eye, we'll simply go get that down, get all the mana we need, throw another Eye, and yeah, we'll basically just be able to repeat the cycle every single time and kill it out. And you just keep spamming Eye every single time, throw it into any kind of small damage, either a skull or a gargoyle, and that will kill it 100% of the time. So we'll get that right on the red there. I'll get right back to gargoyle, and he gets a little bit of explosion, and it does a nice little splash, so if we ever need to do it to adjacents, kill multiple baby dragons, it'll easily be able to do that. So since we scouted this out and we know this is a 1.3, we'll go over here. The only time you don't go forward is if it's a 1.2, which I believe currently is only the goblin battle. So very rarely is it actually a really bad battle. Of course, you can still get Val Ravens. If you transform a Val Raven, it does still give you 2 sigils, so do keep that in mind. Using transform against it has no penalty whatsoever. So yeah, you can just Dragon Eye as much as you want, and it won't matter. We'll get another eye down. So we'll still, as you'll see at the end of this battle, we'll still get the 2 sigils for that thing. Use the gargoyle and adjacent damage to kill that. That thing being webbed is not the worst. Oh, that's the worst though. There is one big downside to this team, and that is if you lose your Dragon's Eye, you're done. Of course. Why? Why must that be a thing? Oh, wait. We need... Oops, I almost just retreated from this battle. That would have been a fail. This is a Val Raven battle, so we do want to finish out this battle at least. But basically, once you have lost your eye, if you lose your eye, normally you won't because you have enough barrier off of every round you take that you will never lose it. But if you somehow lose your eye, like we just did, yeah, the delve is over. That's pretty much like with any high-level delve, though. But particularly this team, because literally the entire team is built around it. Some things you could do to divert that is try putting a different frontline tank in front. You could even try using Gargoltha or something like that if you really want to, or Cockatrice up front, or like the other team we had that I showed, use Gargoyle up front to kind of divert that a little bit. But yeah, if you use Eye in first slot and it dies, you're dead. That's pretty much how delves go, because most Eye-related teams in delves are fully centered around specifically the Eye itself. But at least we'll still win this battle. We'll still get the Val Raven, so that's at least nice. But we'll have to leave this specific delve, it looks like, and go from there. But yeah, really just those skulls are the only thing that really kill you. You have enough disables for everything else that nothing else is really going to get you other than when they decide to hit you with like 2 or 3 skulls simultaneously when your barrier is not up. And even then, sometimes you can still hit all the way through barriers just with how many skulls it gets in a row. But oh well, it happens sometimes. We'll go and get the purple down, and 2 more gargoyles will get that down. Or actually 3 more gargoyles. Actually, yeah, 1 more gargoyle because he just got a hit there. Nice. Apothecary does have cleanse, so we do get to get rid of any ailments. So that web in entangled just gets immediately removed. And that should be enough to kill. If it's not, the explosion should kill it. Or not. Okay. 7 HP. Is it going to go for something? No. So we'll just go do that right on Browns. The last of our mana. And he is dead. But yeah, at this point, once you lose your eye, it is in your best interest just to evade the battle. As you saw there, we still got the 2 sigils, even though we transformed it. But yeah, you have to know sometimes when to run away, and this is one of those times when it is better simply to run away. Alternatively, you can also, if you do find that battles are too hard, or just generally because your stats are lower and stuff like that, it is still possible to camp level 20. I believe this is being fixed next patch, or at least fixed to a degree where it's a lot less profitable to do so. But as you can see by leaderboard, it is still definitely possible to keep spamming level 20. To do this for any certain event, all you have to do is simply go do every single room except for the boss room, then run away, and basically keep repeating that indefinitely until you have as much score as you want, like all the rewards or whatever you want to do it up to. But anyways, guys, that will do it for this video. If you still have any other questions about the faction or anything else in general, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.